So today, this is going to be a part one of a series I'm creating called the Skin Series. And in this video, I want to address really specific aging-related skincare issues that are related to the eye area. Because as aging begins, it seems to become most prominent, most noticeable for us around the eyes. So I thought this would be a good place to start. Now, I'm going to share several different really specific issues that people could be dealing with, and then offer up a bunch of different options for solutions. Some of them are free and some of them are a bit pricey. I'm not personally endorsing or, telling you to do any of these things, like get injectables and stuff like that. It's obviously your choice. I just want to provide information and options that are currently out there. And so we're just going to jump right into it. The first scenario I'm going to provide is one where when someone is smiling, giving a really big smile, they end up dealing with dynamic under eye wrinkles and bunching of the skin underneath the eyes. This is something that is completely normal because you have the muscle underneath the eye, and a lot of people don't just smile with the lower half of their face. A lot of people, when they smile, they also smile with their eye muscles, and like I said, it's natural, but it is also something that can really bother a person. Even if they're in their 20s and they notice something like this in their photos, it can become bothersome. So it's definitely understandable. There are multiple options for this type of problem. By the way, the information gathered here to provide you with these options, this is just done through lots of research online from different plastic surgeons, recommendations, and things of that sort. And of course, every doctor, plastic surgeon, whoever they are, they all have different recommendations based on their own expertise and the ever-changing technologies. But here are some overall options that you have available to you if this issue in particular is bothering you. The very first option, okay, I'm going to give you the free option first and the easiest option for those of us who don't want to spend the money on correcting something like this, because correcting it can be risky. So the best thing to do is actually to look at yourself in the mirror and to practice smiling without overly emphasizing the use of the eye muscles. It really is possible, and it really does help if you can practice smiling naturally without using the eye muscles. Some people do this naturally. Others, they just naturally smile with all the muscles in their face because they're really, really animated when smiling. And so it can be hard to break the habit, but if you're just bothered by how certain photos look, you might want to try this out by actually practicing smiling with just these muscles, as it really does work. Your smile is going to possibly be less large than it usually is, but you could have a nice smile for some photos and avoid having all that bunching that might be bothering you in photos. There's the free option. The second option involves using a very tiny, very minuscule amount of Botox, pretty much almost one single drop, that is placed very strategically within the very center of this muscle under here. And obviously, if you're going to have something like that done, that it needs to be done by somebody who is very skilled, because there are a lot of potential problems involved in injecting in that area. And in fact, it's not even FDA approved to be injected in that area, so it's considered an off-label use. They can still do it, but you really need to understand what could go wrong if injected in that particular spot. The average cost for Botox treatment is about $500. It depends on where you live and many other factors. If you pay for that, however many vials, I don't know how that works exactly, but if you pay for the Botox, they're going to have extra left over if they're only injecting a tiny drop under there. So then you would most likely be able to use it on the rest of your face and other areas that you prefer. So the danger involved in this treatment is that if the injector is not careful, things can go really awry, because the muscle underneath here, it holds your lower eyelid in place. It holds it just like this, and it also holds your eyeball in place through the use of that lower eyelid. So it's a pretty important thing to have working and functioning, and if you paralyze it too much, your lower eyelid can somewhat fall away from your face. That's how it was described by a plastic surgeon online. And that can be very frightening and troubling and cause a lot of issues that don't go away until the Botox wears off for however many months. That's the risk involved in that option. There is a third option. The next option, it is more extreme for sure. It would involve a modified lower eyelid surgery. Basically, they remove a thin rim of muscle in that area. I guess if you're going in for that, you could also get a skin pinch procedure if you want to get rid of if you have excess skin under there as well. Get a couple of things done at once. For that type of surgery, it's on average $4,500, and there are, also mixed results in getting any type of surgery done, the upper or lower eyelid surgeries. So I would definitely be doing a lot of research for doing something like that. Now we're going to move on to the next eye issue to address. A lot of people actually deal with under eyes that are crepey and textured, bumpy, lots of different issues with the aging process. And I mean, people can have these issues when they're younger as well. It's just unfortunate, but there could be clogged glands underneath the eyes. There's little bumps that a lot of people have. If you want to know the best way to resurface the under eye area, this also applies to people dealing with lax skin underneath the eyes where it's just thinning out and it's loose and it's crepey, okay? So when trying to address this issue, there are several options. I think one of the most, I don't know if I should say it's the most mild, but compared to the other options, this might be considered the most mild option, is to get a couple of light TCA peels underneath the eyes. Now, to do this, you can go into an office and get that procedure done. The cost on average, more or less, is about $200. Otherwise, for those people who feel confident, who have experience in doing peels at home, it is possible for you to do them at home, and the cost of a little vial of TCA, depends on the strength, could run you about $20, and you could most likely do several treatments from that. So that's super affordable, but you really need to be careful and do research before going that route, in my opinion. And by the way, I will be doing a TCA peel video coming up pretty soon because I want to share my experience in doing it at home, as I've done a couple of them over the years, and it's been so long. And I personally like to address some of those issues and fine lines and crepey skin underneath the eyes. So I'll be doing that soon. The next option involves getting microneedling done underneath the eyes, and that usually also goes hand in hand with doing peels. So either peels or retin-A. Basically do microneedling underneath the eyes and then follow that up with the regular use of either retin-A, and if you prefer not to use retin-A, which some people prefer not to use it, the other option is doing glycolic peels underneath the eyes to follow up with the microneedling treatments. To get microneedling done in office will be an average of about $200 for the full face. And so that's an option if you want to purchase the microneedling pen and do treatments at home like I do and many people do. That's $150 approximately for the pen, and then you just buy the cartridges and change out the needle head cartridges, to use it and do treatments, and those are pretty cheap too. The last option is through the use of a CO2 fractional laser to resurface that area of the skin, and this is actually considered an aggressive treatment where you would mostly need one treatment to really have some profound results. And the average cost for that is about $2,300, and I'm not sure if that's just for the under eye area. I think that's for the whole face. That is really pricey, and for those wondering, many doctors will say that doing TCA peels actually can give you equivalent results to doing fractional laser procedures. So that's something to keep in mind. So like for me personally, I'd rather just do the TCA peels because of the price. And because I'm familiar with the process and how to do it, and I feel okay doing it, even though it's extremely painful, which I'm sure the laser is as well from what I've read. We are going on to the next issue we're going to address. Okay, so a lot of people are dealing with hollowed out under eyes, and this is something that people can deal with at any age. It can be caused by genetics, allergy-related issues. Loss of fat is the most common underneath that area. Okay, so the easiest option you're probably already aware of is getting some type of injectable hyaluronic acid related filler into that area. Some people have had wonderful success in doing that, and unfortunately some people also have not had as much success in injecting filler there and having good results from it. I've really heard mixed results from this type of option, and the cost is approximately $1,000. And I'm not exactly sure how long it lasts because it really depends on how fast your body metabolizes things, your immune system, as well as whatever substance it is that they're injecting.
The PRP plasma facial was made famous by Kim Kardashian. It's also known as the vampire facial. The average cost is about $1,000, and basically what happens is they draw your blood and then they put it in the centrifuge and remove your plasma or the PRP from that, and then they do a microneedling session while putting the PRP on your face during that time, and they also usually give it to you to take home to put on your face after the procedure for the couple days afterwards. Now, the results from this type of facial aren't usually as long lasting as the other options mentioned. So the next option is through the use of a stem cell facelift, which isn't really technically a facelift. In this procedure, the starting cost is about $4,000, which is pricey for sure. Although I have seen some places with a starting price of around $1,500, so it really depends on where you go to have this done. And basically what happens is your stem cells will be retrieved through the use of liposuction. So basically you'll be getting a liposuction procedure out of this at the same time. It's not going to be a full liposuction session. It would be more of a mini session just to get the fat that is needed. And also I'd like to note that this procedure is really similar to a fat transfer or fat grafting procedure, but this one varies because they are specifically going after getting the stem cells retrieved and concentrated for use. They do that in order to harvest the fat out of your stomach or wherever you have the adipose fat, and they will then place that into a centrifuge that will separate your stem cells, and then those stem cells will be extracted and concentrated and then injected into the areas where you need to fill in those hollows. This procedure is said to be quite effective and longer lasting than some other options.
The last one I want to address in this video has to do with what can a person do to deal with the fine lines and wrinkles that start to form around here. Now, the different options really vary depending on what type of wrinkles we're talking about. Fine lines, there's several options. Deeper wrinkles, there are different options. Okay, so the first option, the easiest, is doing regular peels and or using Retin-A. So peels or Retin-A, because you can't always really do them at the same time. It's very difficult, as well as microneedling. Those things can greatly improve fine lines and wrinkles around the eyes, as well as the skin that's crepey and textured and stuff like that. So the other option for dynamic wrinkles and deeper wrinkles involves using Botox or Dysport. Those cost between $400 to $500 for a treatment. So just like with the other problems and solutions we were talking about, the other option involves, once again, the CO2 laser. The CO2 laser can help with a variety of different issues and with deeper wrinkle lines, so there's that. But like I said before, if that seems too extreme or too extremely expensive, the other option is doing multiple TCA peels. I have a couple final thoughts here. There's a couple of things I wish I would have known as I was growing up, as I never wore sunblock ever, and I was so dark when I was a little kid. My hair was white blonde because I was living in Arizona and my family didn't believe in sunblock or hats or staying out of the sun at all. So I hope it doesn't catch up to me now, but I do have like 15 million wrinkle. Oh my gosh. I meant to say I do have 15 million moles and freckles. Wrinkles, I don't think I have 15 million yet, but I hope it doesn't just all catch up to me one of these days based on my childhood. So what my tip was going to be is, obviously, please wear sunblock if you care about preventing some of these issues. And I didn't do this until more recently, but I never used to wear it all the way up to my eyes, and I never used to put it up like almost on my eyelids or the underneath my eyebrows. But more recently I started doing that and realizing that is kind of important because those areas are also important and they show the first signs of aging, which does make sense. The other thing that I never ever did growing up is I never wore sunglasses, and I think if I would have worn sunglasses, I mean, you're protecting the area that ages the quickest, which is your eye area, as well as preventing the creation of some static wrinkle lines that you will develop if you keep squinting, which I used to do all the time while driving until I realized I should buy some sunglasses. They definitely help if you care about preventing the visible signs of aging and sun damage. You don't want to damage your skin from the sun. That's what I have for you guys. If you guys have any specific questions or very specific problem areas that you want to work on and you want to get some answers about, please feel free to ask below or share any of your experiences below, because like I said, technology is always changing and there are other things coming out here and there that could possibly help. There are also supplements that can be taken that can help overall with some of these issues relating to, so some people who have under eye puffiness and just facial puffiness, personally, when I see people doing different videos, for some people, I actually notice that their faces are a bit puffy. And I think there are certain things that can cause that. For example, eating things that you shouldn't, that don't agree with you. Even if you are able to consume dairy is quite inflammatory and can cause like this classic looking puffiness to the face. It really does make a profound difference to cut that out if you have problems digesting it, or just to cut it out in general. And that seems to help people a lot. There's a couple other things. I made a post about this on my website because there are other supplements you can take that help with anti-aging, but to me, they really help with inflammation, and a lot of the inflammation really is visible on our face and around our eyes. So the main supplement that I can recommend, there's a few, but the one that I want to recommend the most is turmeric, which is an anti-inflammatory. It has so many incredible properties and benefits to using it or taking it daily, and it's helped me with so many different things, including like chronic pain that I used to have with my shoulder. And so turmeric is a wonderful supplement to take, and things like that can actually help with puffiness on your face and around your eyes. This is getting a bit long. I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, please let me know. I really appreciate you watching. Take care.